believe that even though residence usually stays and wants to remain what it was, but I don't think that with the technologies that we are facing very shortly, it will sustain the feeling, and the whole life will change. So I believe, as I said yesterday, that the house will. I mean, we are going to live in a new technology which is based mainly on virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and quadrocopters, רחפנים. And all these will change immensely the way we are living in our houses, because some of the things we are now enjoying in a house, we will not have to or want to enjoy in the future. We will have virtual reality spaces which are so much easier to meet, which will feel and look the same as we will feel as we are facing our guest or whoever we want to meet, your friend, in a very real feeling. And I don't think that we will invite them home. Home will be just for, the essentials, sleeping, preparing yourself, and so on. Even eating, I guess, will be done by what do you call them? Three-dimensional imprimery. Anyhow, so as I showed yesterday, even now already, and this is the first generation of it, we can even do sex virtually with a feeling of the real thing. So I guess that, and plus, we will finally be out of our personal cage, which is our body, because we can appear in whatever look or feel or whatever creation we can create for ourselves and appearing with it. So I really don't see that we will need in the future house what we need now. It will be a very functional, very technological, and we will be able to connect from it to wherever we want and with whoever we want. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, now we are going to show you some of our world perception. What is the 21st century home? We took it to the practical, as we see it in this period, and how it's the future as we see it. So we consider in the opposite that the human aspect is going to be much more vivid because of the older technological world. We take the human aspect much more in vivid way, because I think we are at the end we are people. So this is our method, which is history, and our architectural philosophy. As you see, the conception of the 21st century is we believe the two main aspects on the planning. First is the climate changes, as all of us know. It's shading, and we developed the shading schemes. You see the layered envelope, and planning flexibility, which is suspended roof. And the other aspect is the human aspect, which is the exciting living space, which is called the narrative planning, drama, mystery, and love, which is, in my opinion, this is the most crucial part in architecture, also in the future. So several of our projects now is under construction, and which reflect this message that we talked about now. This is the first one. You can see it now, planning flexibility. This is the suspended roof. So because of the technology, now we can do these roofs much more bigger and with variety of geometry. Another part. It's like and the idea is it's called the shell house. As you see, this is another part of this. And this thing we can take all the shading aspect, especially in Israel, in these houses. Now this is the crucial part, in my opinion. This is the crucial part, and now you see the hidden. Can you see the mystery, and you see the longing and how this house can show all these things that we speak about. Another part of this. This is the UFO house, and you see this geometry, and this is a 3D dimension, and this is the reality. It's under construction, as you see. Another house that's under construction, and this is, you see, the radiation house, the shading skin, and all this that cover this house, the part of it. Another one, which is the central house, and you see it also. This is all the human aspect. As you, some of us can figure, this skin where it came from. Another one, this trainer house that we can see how the nature come inside and outside, and how it's all the shading skins. This is the main idea of this house. This is another one, which is blowing the confine between the inner space and the outer, and all this the aspect of the climate, that all the swimming pools should be covered. Another one, that's a lead envelope. And another one, now this is a apartment building complex near the sea, in which you can see the suspended and inclined connecting roof simulate the sea wave. In connecting shapes, the geometry create the space through the private swimming pools in the contradiction of this geometry. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Mr. Yoni Monjak, please.
Hi. Compared to my friends, and all my friends, I don't have any presentation to show you what's my idea about the future house or the housing, because I think that architecture doesn't have anything to deal with technology, form, shape, style, trend. And architecture deals only with culture, and the culture meaning how we human beings would like to live in our new system, whatever it is. Technology, in my opinion, has to come and serve architecture, and of course deals with, if it's in Mars or in Alaska or Dubai, whatever, it depends on money, depends on culture, depends on materials and resources that you have in this place. And the presentation about Mars just destroyed part of my ideas about the future. So, fuck you. I think that the general idea about the new housing, that this small apartment. First of all, I would never like to live in a house, in buildings or apartments as people think, because I think that it will put me in a way that I'll be kind of a exist person and not a living person. And I think that if the future city, the future housing will stay or will bring back the meaning of city, the place, the human being, the neighborhood, then this is the idea. The idea it's not what kind of a shape of a house that we have, and not this standard of trend. People ask me, what will be the next trend? I'm shit about trend. I really think about how people will live together. So, and I think that the agenda to have small apartments or small living room, probably with the experience that we have in the world, automatically it's kind of building a new slums. We see it all over the world. Housing has to be good housing for the future as a family, only if somebody will say that in the future we'll have 1.2.5 children in the house, so this will change. And in the end of the day, I think that the future will be the result of transportation more than if the building will be a high building, small building, whatever, because land is very expensive source, and people have to go away. In Israel, it's very, very common that we'll have to go south all the way, and the transportation will solve the problem more than everything else. And the last thing that probably was somewhere between the lines here, it's that yesterday I spoke about the meaning of the public area, the gardens. Okay? I think that one of the main problems of housing today and in the future is that we, the architects, we deal too much with the form of the house, the shape of the house, and how it will be, how it will look like, and we don't solve the problem of the space between. The space between, it's always a leftover with some greenery and some trees. And the culture of the space between, the culture of the city, the culture of the neighborhood, this is what the future should be talking about. That's all. Thank you.
And architect Mark Brown.
Hello. I thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you to the other architects. It's a big honor to go last because now I have something to say. And really, I'm honored to be on this panel with these guys, truly amazing architects. I'll tell you my thoughts, because I guess the reason people are sitting out here is really because we're all trying to learn how to be better at what we do. My background is as an architect. We also build our projects. My father was a builder. So, before I went to architecture school, I grew up in the industry, and all the projects that we design, we also build. Recently, I purchased a house in New York to actually take down and to build 4 houses on the property. And one of the houses was a house that was built in 1950 that was state-of-the-art. So what does state-of-the-art mean in 1950? The cabinets in the kitchen were made out of metal. If you tried to find the appliances, they were actually all integrated. They actually had a smart house system in the house. The smart house system was there was one switch that turned everything on and turned everything off. Today, 50 years later, not much has really changed. I think Yoni hit on a topic that I think is really, I think he's right on. We used to use, for example, spots, MR16s. They were halogen spots. Today we use LEDs. It's the same look. It's different technology. But still the lighting design has to be right. If you look at designs, like for example what we do, I don't know how to use this, so if someone knows how to use it, they can do it. But, so I don't know technology. Is, what do you call it? Is, if you look at the homes, say I built 30 years ago, you look at them 30 years later, they're still beautiful. I mean, I think for most of us sitting in here, the idea of a home, it has to function. Technology doesn't really help that. It could just improve that. It doesn't really matter. And so really the thing is that what we found in our business, and I think everyone sitting on this panel, is that how do you wake up every morning and make a better product? So today we have technology that helps us make better insulation, make better windows. But again, if the design is not right and the house doesn't function as a house, so who cares? You know, it's interesting, you're talking about technology, when you talk about these state-of-the-art houses, these smart homes. If you ask anyone over the last 30 years, they'll tell you they're stupid homes. They don't work. It's always, things are always breaking, you can't find this, and all you really want is to turn on and turn off. But today, technology moved incredibly fast, and I'll tell you what changed. You know what changed? It's called simplicity. 30 years ago, there was a company in New York, and they started whatever, something called Radio Shack. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this place. Right, Radio Shack, right? We used to get these projects, build these little models. You remember these? They used to have it was called an X10 smart house system. What was it? 30 years ago, you took the outlet out, and you put this outlet in, and you have something that looked like a clock, and you program that outlet to turn on that light. You know what happened 30 years later? That's what we do today. We don't even wire houses like we did for the last 30 years. We don't do home runs anymore. Today, you can take the switch out, put that new switch in, and all of a sudden you have a smart house. Today, you walk into your house with your iPhone, and you turn music on a Sonos or a Bose system wirelessly. And the truth is, that's what technology has done, that today, we can actually do it ourselves. You don't need these systems that are so sophisticated. Like my whole life, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm 50 years old, almost 50, is that I'm trying to make life more simple. And so technology could either burden you or it could enhance you. But I think the basis of good design and good build is actually having the house function. And with the products out there today, I think the only thing that it does for us is that it really just, you know, if we don't know how to design it right, it'll just make it more complicated. You know, like I see, for example, people love these glass roofs. But then if you have a glass roof, you got all the bird stuff, I don't want to say the word, I don't want to say, on top of the roof. So it's a beautiful roof. It looks like shit, you know, sorry. It looks like, so what's the point, right? And then, like, so you can have a beautiful skylight, but if it's not, you know, whatever. So, it doesn't really matter. So, I don't know if I'm the right guy for this panel, or whatever, but I don't even know what this clock is even doing. But, like, what I said is that what we try to do, and Yoni and I are really good friends, and I look up to Yoni tremendously, is that what we really try to do is we try to design a house that works, that people could actually live in the house. I always think the beauty is the easiest part, because if a client likes something beautiful, we'll figure out how beautiful, but it has to work. You know, you can't walk into a house, like a typical house, a living room, dining room, kitchen, and all the kids are throwing the book bags on the dining room table. The house doesn't work. Technology doesn't help that. So I think the first thing is good design. I think you really need good project managers and good builders that know how to build, that the house doesn't fail. And I actually think that the greatest thing about today's technology is that it taught us really how to be more simple in our own lives. That everyone just wants to get rid of their stupid phones and their stupid this, and they just want to go to sleep without their phone buzzing and without their smart house not working and this not working, and they just want like a simple, you know, I call it like bread and butter. So I hope all you guys good luck with the new technology. I'm going to try to just do what I keep on doing, and thank you very much for...
Thank you, Mark. While we rearrange the stage, we're going to begin this discussion panel. We need you guys to rise for a second so we can reset the stage. I'd like to add to the 4 participants. I'd like you to meet whoever didn't participate at his lecture yesterday, architect Dean Maltz, who's Shigeru Bun's partner in New York City, and Jacob Lange you met this morning, and Sasha Lucky, who's a product and industrial designer. And we would like to begin with a question for all of you. And I'd actually like to begin with Sasha. I'll sit on the other end. On all of yours idea and perception of the future home, I'm connecting it based on Sir Norman Foster personal note, which I believe you all are familiar with. Norman Foster says, as architects, we design for the present, with an awareness to our past and for a future that is essentially unknown. Sasha, because you are actually dealing with product design, what is your perception of the future home?
First of all, I have a lot of respect for Norman Foster, but also architects. I would love to have been two things, actually. It's architects or musicians. For me, that's a really, really fantastic job, I think. Because what you do stays, you know. It remains for centuries, you know, and so you have not to make any mistakes, I think. So this must be a great pressure, I think, for architects. As a product designer, I think the life's product is quite shorter, you know, that's something different. But I do agree a little bit, quite a lot actually with Mark, because I do believe that the future will, and I hope it will be not as this stupid thing which I have in my pocket, you know. So I hope the home will not be like this, you know, something where you are the slave of the object and not the opposite, you know. I do believe that we go with more simplicity. I really believe in that. And I hope it will be like this, you know, where houses will be just simple, very functional, almost invisible, so they can really be in fusion maybe with the environment, or almost you cannot see them from far away, you know. This could be very nice. And also very simple inside as well, you know, so where maybe the nature can come inside and the inside can come outside. And at least this is the way I like to give the advice also when people ask me how I should decorate, you know, I don't like this word, but how I should organize my house, etc. The first thing I tell them is to not pack their interior, you know, not to overcrowd their interior with too much stuff, you know, too much furniture, too much sculptures, paintings, whatever, because the emptiness is also very important inside.
Do you feel that your products are influenced already by the digital world, or you're completely disconnected from the influences as what you have in your pocket?
You know, I don't have so much respect with technology, even if I deal every day with it. You know, for me, it's just a hammer. It's a tool. You know, so it allows me to be a little bit quicker in the process. That's it. But as I showed it the other day on my presentation, everything starts from the paper and pen. You know, this is the very first idea. It's the shortest way to show to others what you have in mind. You know. So and then all the rest is just to make things going faster, and of course then my sketches I just switch them immediately in 3D programs, and we send this to the factory, and they build the prototype 2 weeks after, and that's it. It's in the process. But the very first beginning must be very emotional, very strong, very personal. So it's really, that's why I love this job, because it's really a mix between art and industry. You know, it's emotion and function.
You're actually saying it's similar to the process 200 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dean, thank you very much. Dean, how do you feel regarding the future home? You can.
Hello? Okay, that's better. I really appreciate the presentation Jacob made today, because it shows us where technology could take us. I believe that architecture has its basis in technology. When we first started getting out of the caves, we use basic tools in order to, to cut down trees, and then with these trees we're able to make enclosures. And over time, we found new technology, and with this new technology, at every generation of mankind, we created new things. So the question is, today, with our new technology, which is growing at hyperbolic speed, how can we harness this technology for what we want to create for the future? I think we're kind of at a pivotal point right now where so much technology is coming at us so quickly. We become a victim of this technology. So I think part of what people are striving for today is to find a way to get away from technology. And I think it's the responsibility of the designers and the design manufacturers to harness this technology to improve our way of life. I sort of look at a way of embracing this technology. In the work of Shigeru Ban Architects, we've been embracing mass timber technology. It's really the result of computerization and how we could design things on computer and a CAD system, and then take these technology into the manufacturing, into prefabrication, and then we could create a better environment for the future. And so,
meant for residential as well?
Well, of course, it would be residential. I think technology is used in all forms of construction.
I'd like to refer a question to Ilan, which designs a lot of residential units in Israel, buildings. What is your perception of future residential, especially in Israel, in a country like Israel?
I agree in a way with Jonathan that architecture is about culture, but culture nowadays begins to be about technology, because technology changes. I mean, the 20th century was just the beginning, and the end of 21st century would be something we can't even imagine. And definitely we have to, and definitely we see now how our culture is influenced by technology, and this is really just the beginning. It becomes what we always wanted. The human culture was to live and to get out of what we have. It was always the perception, always a wish to, like Icarus and Daedalus, they wanted to reach the skies, and now we do. And all our culture, for instance, that concerns, let's say, journeys, is totally different than what it was 200 years ago. I mean, technology does change culture, and the more it goes, it will change more the culture. So, we can. What we saw here with my colleagues here was basically the architecture of now, maybe of next year. It's like a trend. It's not a concept. It will be different. It will be so different that we cannot. I mean, and plus, by the way, things that are here to stay. What you were talking about, things that stay, and we all love them and like them. But I think the more it goes, the more we feel that we cannot create things that will stay, but we have to create things that will change themselves or will vanish after we are gone. We cannot. I mean, the planet is small. We cannot do things that will stay forever. I mean, this is another wish we have, which I think will have to be a part. We'll have to get. I mean, really to leave it. And I think culturally we will not accept anymore to build things that are here to stay. It's sad for us as architects of now, but it will be probably very exciting for the architects of tomorrow to do whatever they wish, and it vanishes after 24 hours or whatever.
It'll be no more renovation.
What?
There'll be no more renovation according to your...
Renovation, I don't know. I talk about the new creations, okay? Renovation will probably stay. What is already and what's considered to be worthy of staying will stay. But we cannot go on with it. I mean, we are too many people on this planet. Will be much more. Many more people on the planet, and we cannot go on building things that will stay. This is a wish that we have to get rid of.
Thank you. I'd like to refer a question to Dan, because Dan presented private homes which look futural, and I'm trying to figure out if your end user feels comfortable in those homes, which are very future-minded.
Yes, because of the outer envelope is very futuristic, but the inside is going to be very warm. I think it will be much warmer even than now, because people want to, in my opinion, get rid of this technology. I think at the end we are people. And in the end, people go to sleep. They do they need to do. So we can't be a machine. So in my opinion, it's a wishful thinking if somebody wants to be a machine. Okay, but so in opposite to all this, this idea that this was going to be very technological. At the end, I think people want that the house will be like a sanctuary. They want to. This will be like this thing that border that can like a shell protect us, protect them from more. Yes, a shelter. So it will be much more warmer, in my opinion. It will be very intimate. Much more intimacy than now. So like the trend in the 80s, which was not intimacy. So I think all the materials will be much more warm materials, and it will be much more than opposite that like how the future look like. I mean, the outer building, the outer skin will be in according to the climate changes, because it will be it will be very, very practical, because the sun will be much more strong. The cancer that came from the sun. So I think like the envelope will be very practical according to the climate changes, but the inside will be much more warmer. I don't see that it's like it will be like the age of the machine, that people will start to do make love with the 3D. It's like to be masturbation. Yes, it's bullshit. So I can't say that. In my opinion, the house will be much more warmer, much more intimacy than now.
Thank you, Dan.
It's working? No. I have to insist. I'm sorry. This is me. I think that probably if buildings will disappear one day, and perhaps something will change, and technology will be something amazingly great. Until today, if we look about technology come to solve more how to build a building and how to shape the shape of the house. And again, architecture deals with culture. And I don't care about the technology. Technology will be something great. And if the building will disappear one day, it's okay. But in the meantime, when I will live there, I would like to live in the best system according to the culture that will be there. If, for example, people will not cook in the house, because in the future, this will be the culture that you don't cook in the house anymore, okay, so we'll take the space and we'll do something else. But until today, with all the technology, since the time that we went out from the cave, from the shelters, whatever, we had triangle or rooms, 2 rooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, square buildings, whatever, and then suddenly somebody decided to make it round, whatever. But things didn't change. The culture of the living didn't change. And for you, I have to say something. When you say that you think that the apartments or the houses will be empty, whatever, this is kind of a point about styling. It's all about culture, because if you will come to my house, you will kill yourself. I have tons of things, tons of things, and tomorrow I'll have more. So, but it's my culture. That's what I like. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm referring now to Jacob. Your residential projects like the Via 57, which is actually, if I'm not wrong, mainly for rental tenants. Is there any influence that you can indicate that in this project that is looking towards the 21st century and somehow influenced by future components?
No, actually not.
No.
I would say the VIA project in New York that I also showed earlier is a very basic housing project, and what makes it stand out is how it reacts to its location, its orientation, the people that live in there. So it is. We used technology through the design process to get to that shape, because it's the one shape that solves all these challenges the best possible way. So I agree with. Yes. Exactly. So I agree with what was said here many times, that the technology for us is very much a tool to reach the best possible outcome or the best possible design, and maybe with the help of technology, we are able to test more type of designs and do more sort of iterations and test the acoustic properties, test the daylight.
I'll specify my question. We were there. We produced, the Israeli Building Center produces also Madlan City, New York. Two guests here. And last month we had Madlan City, New York, and we visited via 57. And the tenants use the open spaces and the lobby to sit with their laptops. They sit outside. So my question was referring to, is that a coincidence, or the open spaces were designed for this purpose, knowing that people sit today with a laptop and answer an email? Or
I think that's maybe coming back to the culture of now, that there's this big influence of the sort of, yesterday we had a panel on the WeWork and this sort of collaborative environments. And it's perhaps like something we enjoy now. Who knows what will be sort of the next wave of designs? Yeah.
Thank you. Mark, what is your perception of the future home? Your main. Give us an example of a project where future is felt in your design.
That's a really good question. I guess because we've been doing this for such a long time, and we work globally, what I've always seen is trends are no good. Because trends, the second you put it in, you're done with it. It doesn't mean anything. You don't feel it. I always say, I think you have to design with passion. Like I don't want to make love to a 3D animated object. I want to make love to a beautiful woman. I mean, try to beat that. So I'm saying, I think that's how you design, and I think you need to feel it and touch it, and I think whatever you design, people think modern is not classic, but it's not true. You can do beautiful modern designs that are classic for 50, 60 years, 100 years. And I think anything that's now is just now, and you're done with it. And maybe that's the trend today with relationships also. You're done with people in 2 seconds. I'm not into that. So I think that the future, and history has taught us that, we always go back to our roots. Everybody wants it. And our roots are really just trying to enjoy what we have now and be happy what we have now. So we can be happy tomorrow. And that's the future of our life.
Thank you. I'd like to raise another question for all the 7 of you. This conference, which is actually the first time we're hosting international guests, and the conversation is very interesting because everybody comes from a different culture, more or less, and our theme is connect or disconnect. I'd like to speak about, I'd like each one of you to refer to disconnecting in residential projects. Is that a possibility to build residence, a home for someone which is disconnected, because disconnecting means you might be disconnected from everything, from all of your society. I think the best example for disconnecting is the Burning Man city, which Jacob presented before. That's disconnecting for 7 days. People come for 7 days, they put away their mobile phones, but we're talking about the life for 7 days only. Is it possible to conduct residential life or our domestic life somehow under the definition of disconnection? We'll start with Yoni. You understood my question? Yeah. No. Okay, I can ask you again. Okay. Do you? Oh, no. How, if you would get a mission to disconnect your end user from everything, how would your house, the design of your house, be expressing the disconnection of this? You're not disconnected. You live in a house in Ramat HaSharon. You're 100% disconnected. You're 100% connected.
I'm disconnected.
How?
I don't give a shit about anything. I mean, my house, going down from my bedroom straight to my studio. I don't give a shit about the world. I'm putting my music in, that's all.
You never meet your neighbors? You never...
Neighbors? I really don't know my neighbors. The only thing that I meet somebody is when I'm sitting in 4 o'clock in the morning reading my newspaper, so I meet my stupid government, that's all. And if I will be addicted to my iPhone, sometimes I do, because then I can cure somebody. That's what I'm using most of the time, Instagram, fighting with everybody. And if I will not use my iPhone, probably I will have more time to masturbate, that's all.
Sasha, what do you think regarding domestic life and disconnecting? Is that an oxymoron or is it possible?
I think we should disconnect, really. It's
also in our domestic life.
Of course, because I mean, I took this example of the iPhone where we are just using so much functions that we don't need, you know, and we are just like stick to the subject that we don't need absolutely this, you know. So yes, I think we should disconnect, and I admire my neighbor's life, you know. He's just perfectly disconnected, and I think that we should do that from time to time, yeah. And for example, again, to take an example of the houses of my dream, you know, I always have in mind those houses from the 50s in California, you know, those very simple one-floor houses that are completely integrated into nature, and here you feel like you are totally disconnected. It's very minimalistic, but still warm and very personal, very human. And I think this is the right thing to do, in the right place to disconnect. So even the technology is there, but it should not be visible, you know, and it shouldn't be so invasive. I don't know if we say this in English. You know, you know what I mean. So this is my opinion. Something beautiful with technology is there. We have to deal with it, but the human should be in front of it, not behind the technology.
Ilan, how would you disconnect a family in a building with 100 apartments if you had a task to disconnect every apartment somehow? Do you have any idea yet?
It's a question for me, no?
For Ilan. I'm trying to challenge all the 7 of you.
Well, I showed yesterday 2 projects of mine in Tel Aviv, one in the south of Tel Aviv and one in the north of Tel Aviv. And again, culturally, the south of Tel Aviv wants to be involved with the community around it. So we created a project which enables that. And in the north of Tel Aviv, people want to have my home is my castle. So we provided with sort of a water basin between the rest of the world and yourself in your house. Of course, you have your neighbors, but we know that neighbors are not something that is not a community, not necessarily.
I just want to say goodbye because I have to go. Otherwise, I will miss my plane. But I wish I would stay with you guys and really participate to this fantastic panel. I don't know if I'm the right person to be here with you, but I really enjoyed all the week. You know, it was really, really fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, but again, if we're talking about the future, and I mean, we're talking about the 21st century, we're not talking about year 2020. So things will be probably very different. And again, I think the connection, because we want to be connected, and we will be connected, but we'll be connected differently. It will feel the same, because not only because of what I showed with the suit of, with the, make sex with the, how do you call it, Khalifat Chayshanim, whatever. But when we know more about our brain, and I think we know now that we don't know anything about it, or very, very little about it, when we'll know exactly how it works, we'll probably have the feelings of connection virtually, because it will be the same. We have the connection is in our brain. It's not the real touch is not important. It's what we feel of the real touch. And I think that again, technology, which is going there, definitely we see it already there. But who knows what it will be at the end of the 21st century? But I guess the communication revolution will go on, and it will be about connecting. Now it was about telephone, and then it was about emails, and I mean, just the beginning. But at the end, we will connect differently. We will still feel happy and feel satisfied, but it will be different. We cannot afford to have connection, everybody going to everybody, going to the office. Why do we need offices? We don't need offices. We can connect and be like this environment, everybody in its place. You don't have to move and to pollute and to build, and you don't need it. And when you don't need it, and again, there will be so many of us that any path we're doing is polluting the air. You know, whatever we do, when we walk, when we connect, when we disconnect, whatever, it's something we will not be able to afford anymore. So I think that we will find different ways to feel the same feeling that definitely all of us still need, and we will be needing them probably forever, but the way we will get to them will be different. And if we want to talk about the 21st century house or connection, disconnection, we have to go and to think and to learn about technology and what it will be. That's the way we can respond to it, and not going back to what we did already and what we're doing now and whatever. It's not interesting, I think, for me. I want to know, and I feel that it will be so different that I really want to know how to go about it as an architect.
We're running out of time. I just want to ask the audience, does anyone have a question, 1, 2, 3 questions to any of our architects? Anybody have a question? שאלות? למישהו? יש כאן סוללה של...
שאלה בכלל, כאילו לא הזכרתם את כל an English panel. I'll try and do in English then. The WeWork revolution that has really come to the workspace, and we've heard about it in malls and shared living and shared space. We heard it from Jeremy Singer as well yesterday. Nobody spoke about that coming to our life and our living. If our apartments will be more like hotels with just a small personal living space, but much more shared of everything else that we use our personal space for, different seating areas, different living spaces, cooking, feeding, etc. And if that is in the near future, far future, never coming, and how that will really affect true architecture design.
Hello? Yeah, I was just thinking about that prior to this conference today. The types of environments that we live in our homes and what the electronic portable device has for us. Because this phone that we have, we're able to work from on our phone. We could be lying in bed and sending emails at any time of the day. So is our bedroom now becoming an office? So what I'm thinking is, in the future, are we going to need to have a room called a bedroom? Are we going to need a room called the entertainment room? Are we going to have a room called a home office? I don't think the definitions of these spaces are as meaningful as they used to be, as we wanted to define things. I think today there's a difference between being public and being private. So perhaps in the future, when we start designing our houses, we'll have public rooms and private rooms, and we'll have the flexibility to be able to do all our activities in different rooms. And I think that's one of the potential trends for the future. I was thinking of Danny's work and what he showed with the shell, and the last picture he showed was the interior of a house which had beautiful nature inside. And I was thinking, if I was going to come home, I would like to actually, when I come home after a hard days of work, I like to disconnect. And so the question to me is, what is the best way to disconnect when we come home? And I was thinking, if I came home to a place like Danny had designed, with this beautiful pool on the inside and nature around, that's really a fantastic way for us to disconnect. And I think the future home is going to be more integrated with nature. I think nature is one of the ways we can come back to our soul. So I think in the future we're going to be integrating more elements of nature and natural materials that are reflective of that.
Thank you all very much. See you all again in our international conference next year, 2019. Thank you all.